much corruption, too much brutality. This situation should be taken seriously. Every day somebody taking a human life. They play games, you don't know when there's criminals inside. Too much murder and robberies can't be solved by the police. Ain't no way to hide, ain't no way to run. How can we survive? The death is going on. They're using guns and knives. They're looking for a fight. You either do or die. Protect your human rights. Oh, what a problem. They're crazy. Too much buildings on fire, leaving people with no homes. Crime rate getting higher, you can't walk the streets alone. It's such a shame how they knocking one another. I just go chain, that's the latest thing they after. Raping young and old women. And when they done, they brutalize them. Ain't no way to hide, ain't no way to run. How can we survive if death keeps going on? They're using guns and knives, they're looking for a fight. You either do or die, protect your human rights. But around the corner, somebody killing their neighbor. You want to know the truth and see what's going on. Listen to the evening news, look at your television. Can anybody tell me which way to turn? So bring that criminals
Permit me to officially say a pleasant good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
in the jungle.
And how are we doing this afternoon?
It's the world of death.
I hope each and every one of you guys are doing good.
Ain't no way
It is Wednesday, the 2nd day
to run.
of July.
Survive if death is going on.
Hope each and every one of you guys are glued to your different devices.
Either do or die.
Go ahead right now, share.
Human rights.
Let them know that there is another class in session that is being aired.
When you're on the street, it's so embarrassing that everyone you meet thinks that you the same. You can't even say good morning to anyone. The first thing they think is that you're mugging and they want to run. Police at war with civilians, and it's all because of them hooligans. Ain't no way to hide, ain't no way to run. How can
We want to encourage each and every one of you guys just jumping into what is happening.
they looking for
This Friday, we are encouraging every one of you guys to come on out to the after work line. This one is going to be one with a difference. This one is going to be exciting. This one is going to be nice. So we're inviting each and every one of you guys to come on out and be a part of the after work line this Friday at the NNP headquarters, all right?
around the corner. Somebody killing their neighbor. They're crazy.
And don't forget this Saturday,
They're killing
the 5th of July, the St. Patrick's West Constituency Branch,
what we
they present Spicy Grenadian. The menu, amazing, man. Sign your love, cocoa tea, bush tea, bakes and salt, fried fish, cocoa, bakes and smoking, Fury. I mean, it's just nice. You could make it into a song, right?
Kill me.
50 Shades Darker, the day cruise is happening on the 27th of July aboard the Kayak Princess. Be a part of this one, all right? Get your tickets right now at Chucky's Bar in St. George's or at Spice Mobile, that's in St. Andrews. Or you can contact Sam in Guam and you have your ticket and you're ready to board the boat and we're ready to go, all right? But we just want to remind each and every one of you guys, this Friday, man, this Friday, I keep saying this Friday, I want to see many of you guys at this Friday's after work line. Invite somebody, call somebody, bring somebody, like if you're going and vote. So go ahead, share the live right now. Let them know that we're here and we're getting ready to go, man.
Somebody killing the neighbor. Oh, Lord.
So yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are definitely going to take this one down as we officially get to start today's program. I hope each and every one of you guys really did have yourself a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. And we are ready, as I said, we are getting ready to do another wonderful one. Well, I want to start by saying I don't know if the minister responsible for climate change, and the MP for St. John's, I have some sad news for you. However, I don't know if anybody told you, but I think it was day before or a few days ago, there were Moko Jumbi, Veko, Shotney, Jab, all kind of thing on the international airport. I don't know if anybody told you, because I know you're one of the persons who spoke highly as it relates to persons' illiteracy when it comes to carnival and persons not understanding it. So I just want to inform, or if anybody have a number that I can call and inform the dear sister as it relates to the action that was taking place on the airport. I find that was very, very illiterate. Yes, culturally illiterate, knowing that the minister clearly stated, you know, the kind of level of education that she do have, you know, definitely it was highly illiterate, yes, of those persons to have gone on the airport, the Maurice Bishop International Airport, and be doing these things. And I really, really want to get in contact with the, I want to get in contact with the dear sister, so that she would be able to give them some insights, more or less, on what should happen. Yes, because the dear sister did speak vividly, yeah. The dear sister knows a lot about that specific conversation, and we don't want it to go anywhere to a point where the sister has to tell all you again. Yes, it is of high cultural illiteracy based on what I saw displayed a few days ago on the airport. Yeah, so if anybody see the dear sister, I want you guys to inform her that this did happen. Ladies and gentlemen, I always pride myself on the fact or the opinion that whenever you hear something coming from the NDC administration and confettis, you have to sometimes you have to dissect it, eh? Yeah, you have to dissect it, and you have to make sure you put it into certain perspective. Yeah. So yesterday I had the opportunity to see a nice highlighted document from the Grenadian Life that was posted yesterday, and it states Grenada's debts fall to its lowest level in years as economy shows resilience despite Hurricane Beryl. See, the thing about it, I like to, and I want all you to listen attentively today, because I want all you to understand what is the simple concept and how these people like to throw up nice headlines. As I keep telling you guys from day one in this program, look out for those nice headlines. They are going to come. Those nice things that are being said, and they want to make it look good, right? So at a point, they would always try to make it seem as if, they are the best thing after sliced bread, right? So it says, and I would read, in St. George's, Grenada, bam, 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 let's move on to that. It says Grenada national debt has dropped to its lowest level in years, falling from 75.1% to 71.3% of the country's total economic output, according to new government figures released on Tuesday. The encouraging news comes as Prime Minister Deacon administration celebrates 3 years in office. The island's economy grew by 3.7% in 2024, powered by tourism boom that saw visitors arriving jump nearly at least 15%. The growth occurred despite the devastating impact of Hurricane Beryl, which struck the country on July 1st, causing a widespread damage to farms and fisher folks and operators. The government says it has eliminated all guaranteed debt and reduced inflation from 2.7 to 1.1%. The tourism sector's strong performance, along with recovery in its construction and manufacturing, helped offset significant losses in agriculture, which is by 20.3 due to hurricane damage. The government fiscal health also improved dramatically, with the country's running a health budget surplus of 6.6% of the GDP. However, challenges remain. The cost of servicing the national debt has risen sharply, jumping from 1.5 to 4.6% of the GDP due to special payment of rescheduled bonds. The country also remains heavily debt on foreign lenders, with over 80% of government debt owed to external creditors. Agriculture and fishing communities continue to struggle with hurricane recovery, and the island remain vulnerable to future climate disaster that could derail economic progress. Despite the concern, the government projects continued debt reduced over the coming years, aiming to reach a target of 60% of the GDP by 2035. Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, that song nice, eh? That song, that have a nice song to it, doesn't it? That song good. Listen, a little piece of contradiction in what was said. And let me tell you how these people do documents to ensure that they make a particular set of people look good and a particular set of people look bad. Remember in paragraph 3, I said, the growth occurred despite the devastating impact of Hurricane Beryl, which struck to country only on the first a widespread damage to farmers and fisher folks. Yes, but the government says it has eliminated all guaranteed debt and reduced inflation from 2.7 to 1.1. Ladies and gentlemen, that sent me researching. And I decided I was going to do my own little research. Yeah? And let me say, the document I'm going to read now, it's a bit lengthy, but I want to read something from you guys that came from the U.S. Department of State. It reads the 2023 Investment Climate Statement, Grenada. Yes? And I want you guys to listen attentively. Grenada economy continues to recover from devastating 13.8% decline in GDP in 2020 due to the global COVID-19 pandemic and its monumental impact on this country's tourism-driven economy. The tourism sector improved significantly during the first 9 months of 2020 compared to 2021. However, the economy still lagged in 2019 figures from January to September 2022. There were increasing tourism arrival in Grenada's largest market, the United States, Canada, 55% to 20%, respectively, compared to pre-pandemic level. Stayovers, arrivals, and so on and so forth. Let's not go all into this conversation this evening. In 2021, real output expanded by 4.7%, driven by recovery in tourism, construction, agriculture, and the fishing sector. The GDP growth continued through 2020 at the estimated 6%, predominantly driven by economic activity in tourism, construction, wholesale, and retail trade sectors. Inflation continues to climb in parts due to fuel and food prices on the international market. But the country's financial sector is stable, with reports of increased deposits and loans. Public finances increased through 2022, with an expanded primary surplus and a decline in public debts. According to the report, the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank and IMF in 2020, an average growth of 8.8% is estimated for CARICOM regions, with an average growth with the ECB or the ECC economic estimated at 7.0%, with average medium-term growth rates forecast at 4.9 and 4.4%, CARICOM and ECCU. Grenada medium-term growth is projected to be on par with regional peers. Right? He says the new government was elected in June of 2023 and prioritized health and wellness and so on, and in the next 5 years. The government of Grenada also strong interest in education and so on and so forth. Not read all this there to go all there. But ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you why I read the first part of this. This is not a news that is new to Grenada. As you heard, the tourism sector has been improving significantly during the first 9 months of 2022. In the first 9 months compared to that of 2021. The projected economic growth within Grenada did not start this year. The country's debts did not start falling this year. And mind you, this is a document that was documented since in 2023. So Grenada's debts, and I would read again the paragraph for you, but the country's financial sector is stable, with reports of increased deposit and loans. Public finances increased throughout 2022 with an expanded primary surplus and a decline in public debt. So since we would have been faced with the pandemic, the past administration kept a stable economy. Growth in the sector of tourism, as you heard they're mentioning now, and mind you, this is a document that was done in 2023. So when you come in 2025 and make it seem as if because of this 1 year, you drastically would have dropped finances, the public debt, is a lie. It's a lie. And for those of us who don't research, when we see that yesterday, we might have said, what, they're doing good. But I'm reading a document for you that is from the United States. Yeah? The United States Department. And that was documented in 2023. Investment and climate statement for Grenada. That speaks to Grenada's economy continues to recover from the devastating 13.8% decline in GDP in 2020 due to the global pandemic. And mind you, with that being said, during that time, as teachers, as police, as the money workers, as different sectors in Grenada, whether or not the government of the day were not paying salaries and keeping with the country's stability at the time. So when them fellas and them come with a nice talk, for those of you guys who want to be fooled by it, I am not one of them. Because this document that I'm reading here dates back to 2023. Why is it that now you come in and talk about improvement in tourism? We have seen the improvement in tourism from since, and it dates back to 2021. The tourism sector improved significantly during the first 9 months of 2022. Of 2022, you took office in June of 2023. However, it says the economy still lagged these figures from 2019 because we had great figures in 2019. January to September 2022, there were increased in tourism arrival in Grenada, largest market. We just came from a pandemic. People want to drive it. People wanted to drive it. So there was this increase. The United States had a 55% and 20% respectively compared to pre-pandemic level. Stayover arrivals increased by 306.6% at the end of September compared to that of 2021. Since 2020, the small island developing state has contended with macroeconomic instability from a loss in government revenue, job air flight, increased inflation, and supply chain distribution because of Russia's war, aggression against Ukraine, which also threatened food security. People, I am not one of the people or the persons who sit by and read and just say, hey, they're doing good. Yes. Go ahead, pull your documents, read for yourself. Yes. So when you hear they come with a papi show, don't worry them. And I can share with you that piece of documentation. I can make it shareable. You guys can read. It's a very long read. Yeah. Political and security Grenada has a stable parliamentary representative democracy. It speaks about labor policies and parties. It's a long, long piece of document. Yes, as I said, it is from the U.S. State, or the U.S. Department of State. So when all you come, all your papi show about debt and debt, let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm bringing it right home to you. For those of you guys who have taken a loan before, or you might have outstanding debts, it happens to most persons in America. They speak to you about your debt ratio, whether or not you have debt ratio and all these things. If you go to loan money, so you're wanting to loan money, and in your own private capacity, yeah? If you want to do it in your own personal capacity, and the bank would notice that your debt is high, your debt ratio is high, they may ask that you reduce your debt ratio in order to get that loan. That is simple maths here, you know. Don't make it sound that if it is country, don't make it lose you. If you're in your own private school, and you have your own private business, and you have outstanding debts, like I'll be paying workers, you're paying different entities, maybe utilities, and all these things arises, and you go to the bank and say, may I please have a $50,000 loan? And they look at your debt ratio. They may be reluctant to give you because they're saying to you, your debt ratio is high. Yeah, they may not want to give you because they're stating your debt is too high. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if you notice the modus operandi of this political administration. That is what the debt ratio noise is about. Because they want other persons to see that they're servicing debt in order to go and beg and borrow more. That is what it is, you know. That is what it is. Don't be fooled by its fanciness. Them fellas realize that they want to go and beg again. They realize that they want to go and beg again. Because when they would have realized the projection for the first half of the year they released, they realized that they were living hand to mouth. They would have fallen significantly in many areas economically. And so, if you show a good debt ratio or servicing debt, your probability of begging for more, yeah, is very probable. At the end of the day, why didn't we know of the debt for the years that they have been there? What they met to what it was. How didn't we know of that? Where was the highlight of what was the state's debt prior to that release being made public? So then they feel like a trick people. That is the intention. So when I see that yesterday, immediately it jumped in my mind and I say, yeah, Papi Show. Or as I saw it, I say, watch Papi Show. Highlight, headline. Because what they have realized, ladies and gentlemen, that there is a lot of sectors in Grenada, important sectors, that have started questioning the performance of this administration. Believe it or not. A lot of persons, a lot of entities, we just recently had them being questioned by the Bar Association. Yes, they are being questioned by different unions. Right? There is the integrity of commission. Right? The questioning of NLA and the corruption, we're going to get to that. They are realizing that at this stage, persons are now asking the tough questions. And you know them. Whenever that starts happening, they want to highlight something they're doing or they have done. And so immediately they start showing confettis for themselves. Yeah? They start showing their own flag at their very own selves. No, I want to read something specifically for an individual, and I hope they're watching. An individual said to me the other day, I see you post something with Dr. Modest, who would have done some lockers in, I think it was Duquesne. I think we made that public. And in conversation, the individual said to me, that is the job of the government. That is the job of the government. That's what government is expected to do. My dear brother, I'm hoping that you're listening. Go to Andy Williams' page. And just about 6 hours ago, he posted, we're on our way to delivering proper lockers, bathroom, and toilet facilities to the hard-working fisher folks of Kelist. By that government job, you're expected to do that. You are expected to do that. But ladies and gentlemen, it is not here nor there with that foolish conversation. Right? I would like to jump on something else that I've noticed that Andy Williams would have posted. Let me read it. Let me be clear once again. Stay focused, folks. A few local contractors who are advanced funds by financial institutions have failed to complete projects on time. That is the simple truth. Now the NNP is speeding to shout corruption in the ministries. Don't be fooled by the noise. We remain committed to transparency, accountability, and delivering for the people. Let's keep our eyes on the fact and on progress. Stay focused and follow the progress taking place in our beautiful island. I read another one. Let's be clear. The NNP's latest strategy to throw mud, hoping something stick, but the fact speaks louder than speed. You were there. You had the opportunity, yet major projects like UKCEF, that is UKCIF, sat idle under your watch. 6 years in the pipeline and not a single step forward. In just 2 years, are breaking ground and set a begin implementation. The 4-judge transformation project, you left it untouched for 5 years. We're now well on our way to completing it. While you talk, we're delivering homes, bathroom facilities, infrastructure, dignity. You neglect these basics for years. We're restoring them. So wake up, NNP. You may fool some people for a while, but the truth always comes out. The people are awake, they're watching, and they're not buying recycled tricks. Be a real opposition, bring alternative, not distraction. Grenada deserves a serious conversation, not political games. If you were the minister and you were on the street, and I hear you say that, and I just shout out by horseshoe. Now, how is it that NNP has been what has done and they are the ones shouting corruption? Remember I told you guys recently, listen to them carefully. Listen to them carefully. I am saying to you that they are always going to blame the NNP when something like that comes afloat. And these guys don't take the opportunity to do what has to be done. And when it is spoken of or about, it is the NNP to be blamed. Andy Williams, NNP never said nothing of that what you said. A few local contractors who advanced funds by financial institutions have failed to complete the project. No, NNP shouting corruption. No.
I've heard one or two cases yesterday when I was in the field that the contractor started the house and he disappeared.
Why is that happening, sir?
I don't really know, but I mean, I believe that the persons who issuing the contracts to those contractors need to basically make sure that they vet these people properly and so on. I've heard stories on the road, which I mean, I don't even want to talk about it here right now. Yeah. Where a guy got money and so on, he put it in an account and so on, and every now and again he goes and take a $200 from it and so on.
Andy Williams, who talking there? Who talking there? How is NNP that want to spin it and call it corruption? How is it NNP that want to spin it and call it corruption? Your finance minister stated, your finance minister when did NNP make anything open about corruption? When is that voice singing anything like an NNP supporter?
Well, one or two cases yesterday when I was in the field that the contractor started the house and he disappeared.
Why is that happening, sir?
I don't really know, but I mean, I believe that the persons who issuing the contracts to those contractors need to basically make sure that they vet these people properly and so on. I've heard stories on the road, which I mean, I don't even want to talk about it here right now. Yeah. Where a guy got money and so on, he put it in an account and so on, and every now and again he goes and take a $200 from it and so on.
Andy Williams, that is mismanagement of state funds. This is being said by the finance minister. And let me go even further. Let me go even further, sir. Let me go even further, where he mentioned clearly in his conversation, he said, and I quote, "I want to put out a warning to persons who have collected government's money and did not do what they should do with it, or you used it for other purpose and so on. We will have audit department audit those things. we will have the necessary steps taken to make sure that you can account for the monies you were given. How the hell this have to do with NNP say or look her up? How did NNP say? How NNP reaching that? When did any NNP, people follow me. If you want, you can go on NNP page. Go on NNP page, go on NNP, go on any minister, go on anybody's, any parliamentary rep page. When did NNP say? Well, how would you like to put NNP in things, so? How did NNP say? Your finance minister stated. Your finance minister, and hear what he's saying now. A few fellas get a little advance. The only man saying, you know, the man is making the thing even worse. The man said, we were advanced funds by financial institutions. How you could pay a man for work that has not been done? And when did NNP say? Dennis Cornwall, as the Minister of Finance, said while he was in the field, he was given stories. He's stating that he believes that is due to mismanagement. His words. I'm playing it again for all you.
I've heard one or two cases yesterday when I was in the field that the contractor started the house and he disappeared.
Why is that happening, sir?
I don't really know, but I mean, I believe that the persons who issuing the contracts to those contractors need to basically make sure that they vet these people properly and so on. I've heard stories on the road, which I mean, I don't even want to talk about it here right now. Yeah. Where a guy got money and so on, he put it in an account and so on, and every now.
So how did NNP say? When did NNP say? You make a post on Facebook and saying, no, NNP spin it, and they are shouting corruption. NNP never spoke nothing as it relates to what is happening in terms of that. Your Minister of Finance made that vividly clear. And that's some redundant. Let me change that. He made it sound vivid, comprehensive. But I'll continue to play.
And again, he goes and takes $200 from them, and it doesn't appear on the person's side to be able to continue the project. So yes, we have one or two houses.
So we have a management problem then to start.
Yes.
Question us. So we have a management problem. The Minister of Finance, the NDC representative for St. Patrick's East, not NNP. Is there a management problem? Yes. Why these guys are so much on NNP? You win. You win. NNP done as you stated. How is NNP spinning anything? How is NNP spinning anything? NNP spin nothing. NNP does spin nothing. The conversation of corruption, mismanagement of funds within the state came up by the Minister of Finance. It was concurred more or less by the minister responsible for housing. And we can go there if you want me to go there. Don't tell me don't go there. Because at the end of the day, even Sister Gloria echoed the sentiment as it relates to the persons or persons within the program that is basically, there's a next disaster for itself, as she stated. When NNP say that? When did NNP say that? NNP never said that. Sister Gloria, you know, who mentioned what she mentioned, and when Sister Glo mentioned what she mentioned, yes, we simply said to the rest of the nation, well, Sister Glo had to be crazy to say that. Because Sister Glo stated it on the Heartbeat program. That is where it was stated on the Heartbeat program. And Sister Glo said that is another disaster in itself. So tell me, when that is being said by the minister responsible, yeah, the minister responsible, right, for the finances of the state, and you are concurring that, oh, a few persons gave advance payments, the man is basically saying audit would have to step in because persons are not giving account for the monies that was given to them. So how NNP reaching that? How NNP reaching that? But I don't like NNP name. I don't like NNP name. So once the conversation comes up, it's NNP that say. NNP didn't say, brother. NNP didn't say. Your ministers responsible for the different portfolios, and going more so into the conversation, the individuals are responsible for the different ministries. The finance minister, who is stating that those monies are being mismanaged and accountable for, yes, and going further, the minister responsible for housing is stating that the work that is being done is dissatisfactory. You are still saying is the NNP that's it. By watch. Have some respect. I find you getting out harder now. Will I have to say that too? NNP did not shame for? Mr. Cornwall that say it. Mr. Cornwall, what we know about that? But however, whether or not you want to say what you want to say, or what you want to say that you don't want to say, your prime minister, and let me read a nicer one. Mistake happened. You need a prime minister confirms corruption in the hurricane burial response. Your prime minister now says it. You know, the Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell has confirmed that financial corruption has occurred with the rebuilding or the building of new houses in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl, which devastated the northern part of the country on July 1st last year, but said the illicit practice is not widespread. His words, and I quote, "I am sure that with any government program from time to time, you may have mistakes or you may have issues that needs addressing, but as far as I am aware, there is no widespread corruption, no systematic corruption in any of these instances," Mitchell said in his response as a question posed to him during his weekly DM with the peer. So he calls them mistakes, admitting that there are challenges with some contractors who are awarded contracts to build homes. Prime Minister Mitchell said that a lot of it had to do with the financial management of fixed-term contracts issued by the Ministry of Mobilization, Implementation, and Transformation, and or the Ministry of Housing. So that is why you make the statement. Are they coming? You didn't know are they coming? I was coming. The Prime Minister is stating that the corruption is happening through and with you. That is what he's telling the nation. Not NNP. Not NNP. I redressed, admitting that the challenges with some of the contractors who were awarded contracts to building those homes. Prime Minister Mitchell stated that a lot of it have to do with the financial management of fixed-term contracts issued by Mobilization, Implementation, and Transformation, and or the Ministry of Housing. So don't come and put statement about NNP say. NNP don't say nothing. Your Prime Minister said it. Again, I quote, "I have said repeatedly with many of the contractors, because in many instances, the ability to manage their money, The ability to have the type of financial literacy that is required is something that is not there, he said, without providing details of any financial wrongdoing. Now you could say you're not dealing with them, in which case those homes are not going to be rebuilt because we simply do not have the capacity, he said, while pointing out that government awarded fixed term contracts for building of those homes. He says if you're a contractor, a fixed price contract of $75,000, yes, in EC dollars 37 cents, to build in $85,000 of building a Build Back Better house, and he does not realize that he cannot pay his workers per day, because if he pays them per day and if he's unproductive, it remains, and if rain falls, and they do not work, yes, and they still have to be paid, he will quickly find himself running out of money and will be unable to build a home, because he ought to have said, if the price is fixed, I then have to give a fixed labor price. The Prime Minister said it. Yeah? So when the Prime Minister said what he said, my dear brother, what are you talking about, NNP? What are you talking about? I have somebody who's joining me today. A pleasant good afternoon to you, sir. Hello? Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, my brother. How are you?
I am fine, I'm fine. You're hearing me loud and clear?
I am hearing you crystal clear.
All right, good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining another class in session program. And how are you today?
I am fine. I am awesome. I am great.
Right. You sound great. Yeah.
I have my challenges in life like everyone else, but I have learned over the years to keep my head up and smile.
That's the best thing to do, definitely. So thank you for joining us today. I am guessing that you're wanting to be a part of today's conversation, so you can definitely go ahead.
I am laughing. Let me tell you why.
Right.
I have never ever encountered a prime minister in this country who have blatantly told Grenadians that they are stupid. Because, quite frankly, in all the Prime Minister's utterances, what he is saying to us is that we are stupid, he's bright, so he could take all his words and twist it all around, and we will drink it like a good hot kalaloo soup.
I don't like kalaloo soup.
Because, I mean, listen to me. Different levels of people have different ways of referring to the same thing.
Right.
The bourgeoisies would say misappropriation of funds.
Right.
It is still corruption and theft.
Same thing.
The affluent would say embezzlement. Is still corruption and theft. A lawyer might use the term, what was the term he used again?
He might say stealing by reason of employment or something of that nature.
Right. So different people have different ways of referring to the same thing.
Right.
So if the Prime Minister cannot categorically state that there is no corruption or any hint of corruption or any trace of corruption, if the Prime Minister cannot come out and say that, which he cannot, then the Prime Minister is saying, for all intent and purposes, that there is corruption. And he knows there is corruption.
Definitely.
Right? Now, in addition to that, I want to give the Honorable Minister for Finance some credit.
Definitely.
Because I think the Honorable Minister for Finance, he spoke the truth.
That's the truth. What he said was the truth. We can't run from it.
He spoke the truth.
Right.
Under no circumstances whatsoever will I deny the opportunity to give him credit for that, nor will I deny Sister Gloria's credit. Because Sister Gloria said what she said on our NDC program, that she programmed,
Exactly.
with she people listening, with she people commenting, and she people laughing. That hadn't, she didn't call on your program, she didn't call on Sheldon Scott, nor Andre Donald, no, not anybody else. She said it on a Heartbeat program, which is an NDC program. Their logo that they're on the program is their logo, their branding.
Right.
So if she said that them give people money to build house, I want to see what they build.
She said a disaster after the disaster.
It's a disaster. So what Sister Gloria is saying is that they give contracts to people who cannot do the job. And that was further compounded when the minister for MIT said that he went into the neighborhood and he took guys off the block and he found guys who was doing little plumbing, little this, little that, and he said that they knew nothing about construction, and he said that they are now building houses. What does he expect? I built 2 dog house for my dog, but me when I build a house for nobody to live in.
You see, the thing about it at this stage, these persons are of the belief that it's NNP that is targeting them, and they don't even realize that they are self-destructing. Yeah, they are doing what they're doing, and I had to read one of his status that he posted today, that it's NNP that is showing mud. I have got
NNP don't show you know what, them saying the thing for themselves.
And I had to get to that because I went through many of the pages, many supporters, even me myself. I've never posted anything about them people corruption conversation. All what we're posting is what we would cut and bring forward to the people that they are saying. They are the ones saying it. So at the end of the day, when he's saying that it's NNP throwing the mud, I'm guessing that they are making the mud and they're the ones playing in it.
Them fellas in them mud already, and them don't even know. Let me tell you why is the biggest problem that this present group of ministers have. You know, it's the biggest problem that they have. The biggest problem that they have is that they've never lost.
Right.
So they don't know losing when it looks at them directly in the face.
Right.
Now, and they're standing so close in their own noise, in their own echo chamber, living in their own little ecosystem, that they have been blinded by their own shadows. They've been blinded by their own shadows. These young people are a disaster.
Yeah, well, that's another one after Barry. So we had a one before and after.
How can the Prime Minister, let me tell you something. There are lots of things that I have that I am not dealing with yet, because I have to find the time to sit down and deal with it.
Right.
But how can the Prime Minister, you're the Prime Minister, you're the head honcho, you campaign for the job to be in charge of this operation called Grenada, right? You've been given the job, and you are going to leave this job with your high point being that you have found a way to encourage Grenadians to use obscene language with a smile.
Right.
And go and admit to corruption, but saying that, well, there's no... Let me tell you something. The Prime Minister is not short on words.
No,
the Prime Minister is very eloquent.
We know that. We are aware of
the
that.
Prime Minister's profession prior to politics depended on his vocabulary.
That is so true.
So the Prime Minister is not short on words. But the Prime Minister has to understand that he can't fool everybody. He could fool the people that might be supporting him, but he can't fool it. And even there, though, they can't be fooled. A lot of the people who supporting these people now only talking because they're shaming them.
Yeah. Let me just support my team because at this stage that's where I reach. Yeah, I can't do anything else.
A lot of these people who talking now are supporting these people, but they're ashamed.
Definitely.
They've dug themselves so deep inside of it that all they can do now is sing, not even for a supper, just sing.
They don't know what they're singing for at this stage.
Well, I tell you, they're just singing. They instead of singing for a supper, they're just singing. They're just singing. Out of key, but they're singing. Right? Now, there's no denying it. There's no denying it that corruption within this government is rampant. It is raging. We have heard the stories, Prince, we've heard the stories of people getting checks. I personally have seen text messages from people high up in the government where people have been giving checks to go and cash and to bring back X amount of money. And I've seen it.
Right.
People came to me and showed it to me and gave me. I've seen it. I have it.
Right. So it's happening. We know it's happening. And you see, at this stage, the only way of getting out of it now is the NNP used to do it. To me, that is it. Yeah? And that is the rationale behind it. And it's funny how we are accepting it as a behavioral pattern now. As somebody saying in the comment section, it's time we start getting these fellas at them, baby. You know, some justice must be brought. Yeah? And when that happens, then maybe persons will say, well, yeah, boy, you know, that is true, or that was true. But persons are meeting us, persons are telling us. Yeah? And a lot of those things that are happening, they are aware of it. Meaning the Prime Minister and whomever, high echelons within the organization. And they are just sweeping it under the carpet.
I want to send a serious warning to the people of the religious community across this country. And I'm very serious. I know we just laugh and joke and things, but you see, this year I'm very serious about this. The people who have found the need, the people who are so inclined to worship, the people who profess Christianity, I want to speak to them. Ask God to allow you for one more time the deep spirit of discernment. Because there are a number of things that are passing over our heads. We are covered by a cloud of deception. Grenada is covered with a serious cloud of deception. We are now being made to believe that anything is good, is right, once it is said in a particular way by a particular group of people. And it is time that the people of God stand up for what is right. Let me tell you why that is important. You had a man in your cabinet, on your platform, who literally turned a political rally into a crusade, and it gave us goose pimples. All of Grenada's felt something. The religious community, a lot of people within the religious community gravitated towards that. That same man who stood up on a principal position, that same man who stood up on a position of morality, was dismissed for the same person that he was trying to discipline. As a result of that, we brought back the old adage, choosing Barabbas before Christ. We glorify everything that is wrong in the name of politics, and we crucify the people who stand up for what is right. The religious community, the pastors, the intercessors in the various churches, the board members of the various churches, the worship leaders, people need to stand up now and realize we need to break a cloud of deception that is hovering over us. We are in trouble. We are in trouble.
Well, we all need to look into it, and I'm hoping that even you sharing the sentiment that we understand that, because as you're saying, so many things are happening. Yeah, so many things are happening, and we're not opening our mind's eye to it, because you know what, things are happening. Yeah,
And it's just normal.
yeah, it's
We just normal. Sit. How come a private? How can we feel comfortable? Right? He wasn't the prime minister when he said it takes Susu in you. He wasn't the prime minister. He was vying for the position, and we still didn't use that as the opportunity to say, "Hey, are you going with this boss?" But even now that he is prime minister, he can do it again.
Yeah, he did it again.
And we accept that with a smile.
Yes.
No,
That's impossible.
no.
We have to draw the line somewhere, because at the end of the day, if it happens like that, as I said, we are brewing corruption. That's how I see it. Yeah, you're brewing corruption if you just accept a behavior like that. The prime minister stands and says, take jab, and then we know what the response is, because come on, we're from here, and we know what this slang is saying, and we accept it.
You have a minister. You have a minister who said, "Yes, I cause the police. Yes, I cause the police. Yeah, I cause the." What nonsense is that?
Well, I guess this is the new today Grenada. Yes.
Yeah. And you have a minister that goes on stage with a microphone and going of your minister. You go on a stage and you telling people, "Oh, you make some noise, make some so and so noise for Kirani," and you're a minister. What garbage is this?
It's sad, but it's true, and we have to strike a balance somewhere. Yeah, we have to strike a balance somewhere. And at the end of the day, as I said, it is not NNP. They're doing what they're doing. We have to make the observation and understand, or get to the realization: are we going to accept it? Are we going to continue giving this person the opportunity to do this? I am with a resounding no, and I'm certain you would be the resounding no. But we want everybody.
People are being muzzled. I met a young lady the other day who told me, "But I was watching your live in Jason, but I'm afraid to comment because the other day people get in trouble for even liking a post." What we living in? I tell people, vote for your freedom,
Yeah.
This election here is about your freedom, and that's what this is,
I think persons who had a level of as you said, freedom. Persons who are more free to express themselves politically. I am feeling that tighten. I mean, other than myself and maybe you and maybe Sheldon and others, that we are at the point where, listen to me, what is the worst you can do when I bring the truth to you? But there are persons, as you said, that wants to. Many times I get messages from persons. I walk here and I walk there, and I just don't want to say that, but I look at the program, and it's true, and that is happening there where I'm walking, and the mere fact that you have to be so stifled,
scared,
to even complain. I am understanding at this stage in the Botanical Gardens. I'm not asking anybody. I have first-hand experience with a family member of mine that at present there is some medical conditions at the Botanical Gardens that he himself can't even take at this stage. And there are others But how many persons are we here speaking about this? Persons are saying, I don't know if it's molding or whatever it is that has to be dealt with in the botanical gardens. And I remember in conversation with one person, they say, well, that was just happening. But if if you build a building 15 years later, you don't expect it to deteriorate, you don't expect certain things to change, and maintenance is what is important. So if the place is not being maintained,
but when you go in, you paint over the whole building, busy. You paint the outside of the building.
So and that is their thing. Their whole thing is to create that kind of buzz, as if you should see the highlight and not what is happening inside. And as I said, that is all they're doing. They're highlighting everything, everything they're highlighting. And the truth is, that is not what is happening. And
I spoke to a bus driver today, and a bus driver came into my establishment today and told me, brother, it is easier now for me to come off the road.
And that's
I work the rush hour and I come off the road because it just makes no sense.
I have to share the sentiment. I live in the south of the island, and sometimes when I leave here and after programs, minutes to 8 in the night, I am not getting a transport to reach home, and that is no joke. Yes,
Grants is a place that has a bus running after 9, 10 o'clock in the night.
Right, true. Yeah.
What happened?
All these years, yeah. I didn't know, somebody's trying to reach me maybe on the phone, but you need to call my WhatsApp and not my straight line. Yeah, I don't know if you want to contribute to the program, but you'd have to my WhatsApp. Yeah, so for those of us who have that, and like I saw one person in the comment section would have said I didn't make out the voice, where we were with my brother Jason Skeet. Yes, he also has a Facebook Live that he does. Yes, and
my voice can't hide. Yeah. My voice can't hide. I just say who it is, because me ain't hiding.
Yeah.
They can't do me nothing more than they tell people don't give. Imagine an organization was told, I would give you money for sponsorship for this particular event as long as Jesus is not on your team.
Boy, that is the point where we reach.
And it's $10,000 they get to know. I could have given them the $10,000 if it was $10,000 they wanted.
Oh my. Well,
so I mean, anyhow,
it is what it is, my brother. Well, I do appreciate.
Allow me to.
I do appreciate
yes.
you dropping by today, and it is always a pleasure to have this level of conversation.
But I have a surprise coming. I just want to tell Grenada I have a surprise coming, and when the surprise reach, it will be nice.
All right, we are with the surprise.
All right.
So thank you very much.
Have a blessed one, brother.
You too. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. So, I mean, it is a sentiment that we all share. And as I said, I don't know if somebody was trying to reach me, but you need to do so via WhatsApp. Yeah. I don't know if anybody wants to make another contribution. It is our last day of program. We'll try to go up maybe to just about just about quarter past, and we're just 6 minutes away from that. But ladies and gentlemen, we need to strike the balance now. We definitely need to. I am certain that person is trying to get me on. Hello, good afternoon. Yes, are you trying to get me to be on the program? Yes. All right, well, you're calling me on my cell phone, so you're not actually on the program. You're not being heard on the program. So I don't know if you have a WhatsApp, then you can WhatsApp me on 418-3702 to be a part of the program. Oh yeah, so my calls can only be done on WhatsApp. Yes. So if you want, you can call me then. All right. Yeah, so they want to be part of the conversation, but they're calling me on my straight line, and I like that. I'm happy. Some persons are saying that they're ready. Listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. The fact of the matter is, you and I are supporters of the New National Party. Yeah. We know where our pledge or loyalty or allegiance lie. But there are new voters, young voters, who don't know. That is who scares me the most. And every time I talk of voting and election, I speak of the persons in whom we need to educate as to what really is the truth. What has really happened in this country, what is really happening in this country, and who can make it better. We have seen obscenity, we have heard of insults, we have seen discreditation, so many things. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yes, so you actually
How are you?
I am all right, and you?
Okay, for the time being.
All right, so you know live on the
Yes. You are hearing me?
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Okay, so I want to make a contribution.
Yes.
What I want to say, to add on to what a gentleman was saying, our Prime Minister is very eloquent, I admit that. But he is not wise. No. And he is very slack and childish in serious business, because the nation business is serious business.
True.
And I think he needs some guidance. And like the Bible says, pride comes before a fall. So you must not be prideful. You must learn to take advice from those who have been there before him to do a better job than he's doing now. Because I think there is a lot of corruption in this NDC party. People who didn't have nothing, they're so rich now, they're traveling in America every day and have all kind of session, and then running them out and say all bad things about NNP this and NNP that. I remember when the kings of the Old Testament, when they didn't follow the pathway of God, they didn't rule well. But when they followed the pathway of God, they did a fairly good job, or an almost perfect job. So I wish he will seek wisdom and do a better job than he's doing now. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. This is not castigation. This is not castigation. You're seeing it. This man is filled with pride. He believes that he's it. He has gotten to where he has to be. And you hear his supporters utter the sentiment, you can't walk in his shoes. As somebody told me tonight, if you take 8 ministers of government to date in this administration, and you give them the left side, not the whole shoes, you know, just the left side of Dr. Keith Claudius Mitchell, some of them may not even be able to make a step. They may not even be able to lift the foot to make a step. Don't joke with humility. Don't joke with consultation and being able to be empathetic and sympathetic and understanding. You hear the ministers talk? And in this life, you meet people like that. When they come to their business, there are some bosses, when it comes to their work, they are strict. I could always remember the C's ASP London. At the time I met him in traffic department, he was Sergeant London. I don't know how many of you guys know Gary. When this man is working, he gives his all, or he gave his all to his job. But when he's recreating, you would have to ask yourself whether or not that's the same person. And I'm saying this to say, many persons would say within the past administration that when Dr. Mitchell is doing his work and he has to get his work done, get it done. And if you walk along with a lot of the persons who were ministers and you were around them now, so I'm around Dr. Modis, same concept. When it's time to get that work done, let's get the work done. I ain't defending nobody for nothing. As I recall clearly, and as I said, when Dr. Mitchell's allegation of briefcase came up, you didn't see a Roland Bowler or Boson or Bowen or Dr. Modest and others jumping onto national television and other media by the time any radio station or anything and defending Dr. Mitchell. No. They allowed the justice of the state to take its course. Even if in their heart they believed, hey, my colleague is innocent, they allowed what is happening, the process, the due process, to happen. They allowed that. And let me finish this statement that before I got the call from Brother Jason, which says, recently the Finance Minister Dennis Cornwall would have announced that the audit department will be conducting audit into several contractors who were awarded contracts to construct houses under the Hurricane Bear Response Initiative and failed to complete the project. The Minister of Mobilization and Transformation was allocated $15 million under the 2024 supplementary budget to assist with the rebuilding of those homes. A total of $50,000 was allocated to each house. Speaking about the alleged finance misconduct, yes, malfunction and irregularities of public funds through the contract, Cornwall said that he has heard 1 or 2 cases where contractors have started houses and disappeared. When asked why this was happening, the Prime Minister said, I don't really know, but I believe that the persons issuing the contracts to the contractors need to basically make sure that they were vetted properly. Sorry, that was said by Mr. Cornwall. Announcing that all government funds must be accounted for because of various supporting legislation, Cornwall said, I want to put out a warning, and he went on. I read that before. So I am disappointed, disgruntled, displeased with Andy Williams saying that it is NNP throwing mud. And is NNP doing this? Your Prime Minister is saying that there are misunderstanding, even if you don't want to say corruption. The Minister of Finance is saying, the Minister of Housing is saying, but it falls in your pot. It falls within your ministry. And so, you believe is more that is not sticking. It has stopped. Mr. Cornwall said it on a talking point program with GBN, not on an NNP program or calling program. The Prime Minister said it in the DM with the PM. Yes, that's when he said it, not on an NNP program. Sister Gloria said it on the Heartbeat program, not on an NNP program. NNP said nothing and have said nothing in any length about this corruption conversation as yet. As yet. So when you come and blame NNP for corruption, no sir. And you want to speak about what is in pipeline and what is in pipeline, brother, don't go there. This is a country that was faced, and here you're talking about 3 and 5 years ago. This country was faced with a COVID-19 pandemic. All the preacher, all you want to beat yourself now about dropping debt. All you want to go and beg and borrow. So you go drop it. Let me say to you, ladies and gentlemen, I would not be surprised in the upcoming months that you hear that there are ministers, present ministers, sitting ministers, or parliamentary representatives that the NDC would get rid of. Because you know what I realize? That some of them, they look fed up. They look fed up because when you look at, when you hear Sister Gloria and Brother Cornwall and Brother Andal and them talk, they look like if, yo, I am here, I am loyal to my party, I've been here long enough, and I'm been serving my party, but I'm fed up. If this man had to make a serious, listen when the Minister of Health said that 2.5 years, nothing. He can't share it. He can't. He can't share it. Nothing was done. He openly told the country in 2.5 years, the needle don't move no way. He said it. So when we hear of these irregularities, misconduct, from other ministers, not NNP, not NNP. Their podcasters and their goons have been reaching to the point of stating if NDC don't get it right after 3 years, they're stating it on their podcast. On their podcast, they're stating here people are collecting money and doing nothing. Not NNP saying that. NNP is not saying that. Your supporters, your goons, are the ones that are coming out. Let us be honest. In recent days, who NNP, sitting NP, you ever attack NDC? We haven't had a little meeting in a long time. Yeah? And just to inform, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, 3 or 4 members are out of state. The opposition leader is out of state, and other members of the Public Accounts Committee are heading to the United Kingdom for training. The other members are Dr. Clarice Modest and Kate Skeeter Lewis. Yeah? Also, Roderick Sinclair and Rahaman in the upper house are 2 other persons that have been chosen to go there. So I just want to inform that the opposition leader, Honorable Emmeline Pear, Dr. Clarice Modest, and Honorable Kid Lewis is out of state. Yes? Just wanted to say that. Right? But when you have looked through those, and just think it for yourself. Think in yourself. Go on Dr. Mitchell's page, go on Sister Emmeline's page, Sister Modest's page, Sister Kate's page. Just go on their pages. See whether or not they're speaking anything of what these people say in NNPC. NNP say what? Get it right. Get it right. And unless you don't get it right, other persons are going to speak. And they are speaking. Your people that are speaking, not we. NNP called corruption a lengthy thing. It started with the minister responsible for housing. It moved on to the finance minister. Now the prime minister. The prime minister. The prime minister's words. And again, I quote, admitting that there is challenges with some contractors who awarded contracts to build homes. Prime Minister Mitchell said that a lot of it had to do with the financial management of fixed-term contracts issued by who? The Ministry of Mobilization, Implementation and Transformation, and or the Ministry of Housing. Fed up all you. Time to go. Are you doing enough? All you do enough. You all are incompetent and misfits. And as the dear brother say, you all are not realizing that the chair is moving below your feet because you have not yet tasted defeat. When it happens, that is when Grenadians are going to realize that these persons were not cut out for politics. Let me tell you, politics is a different mixture, you know. And I believe the very best example to see what a politician is and a dedicated politician is Dr. Mitchell. This thing is different on you, you know. This thing is different on you. Watch me. There were times when, and I'm being very honest, that I saw the Prime Minister's vehicle would have passed. And what I was all excited to lift my hands. A pleasant afternoon. Grenadians are going to realize that these persons were not cut out for politics. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Am I?
Yes, you.
Good afternoon. I'm
on the program. You may need to just lower your volume at the back and listen to me over the phone.
Sure. I've done just that.
All right. So you can make your contribution.
Am I coming to okay now?
Yes, you definitely are.
All right. Good afternoon to you, sir, and all your wonderful listeners.
Yes.
I have a concern about that blast that took place in Telescope.
Yes, sir.
I listened to the Prime Minister.
Right.
I listened to the Prime Minister who said that the matter is under investigation and the police would give a report soon. But I listened to the manager of Gravel and Concrete, and what he said was very disturbing.
Okay. I haven't heard it, so you can share.
All right. He spoke of 2 people being hospitalized, possible for damage to the eardrum. And I'm saying to the manager and to the government, and of course the Prime Minister, he's the minister responsible for gravel and concrete. It's not just 2 people whose eardrum would be damaged. What about the residents of the area? What about the elderly, pregnant women, children, who have been traumatized by that blast? I think the government should set up a temporary medical station in the area, whether it's a tent or otherwise, with doctors, with a view of examining people who in the general area, and to set up a team with Ministry of Works, NADMAN and others to examine the damage done by that blast with a view of making arrangements to repair the homes of these people.
Very important point. Very important.
I am outraged by what I'm seeing in social media when elements of the National Democratic Congress are calling on the representative for the area, the Honorable Emmeline Pierre, and they're alluding to the fact of a constituency allowance, that she should rush to the area and buy materials to offer temporary emergency residence assistance to this area. And I'm saying nonsense to that. This was not a natural disaster. By the utterances of the manager from Gravel and Concrete, it appears to be a man-made disaster.
Definitely. It was negligence on their end. Like whatever.
Negligence on their end.
Yeah.
And therefore, I am saying that if this was in Lansapine or an elite part of Grenada, they wouldn't treat it with scant courtesy. The people of Telescope and the surrounding areas, they are people. They may have voted for a representative in the area. Election has come and gone. It is now the National Democratic Congress administration in office.
Definitely.
And they ought to treat the people of St. Andrews in a better way than they're doing now. Hundreds of thousands of people was affected by that blast. You can't just single out and say 2 people are in the hospital and you're looking to give them medical attention. What about the elderly? What about the children? What about the pregnant women?
There are businesses that stated that even their items would have, got damaged based on the shock.
Of course. So the people of Telescope and the surrounding areas should itemize their loss. Should itemize their loss and take their case to the government. The Prime Minister can't sit idly by talking about waiting on the police investigation to determine the cause. The cause is a different matter, Prime Minister. At the moment, people got hurt. They are traumatized. Their eardrums may have suffered damages. You don't have to wait on police report to attend to these immediate causes, Prime Minister. I thank you very much, sir.
All right. Thank you, Carla. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I really didn't touch on that conversation today, and I'm happy that the caller would have brought it. We're just hit 7:30. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, it shows, and this is where we speak on empathy, and he called in the right time, because I tell you, politics has to do with you as a person. That has to be with you as a person. This is not about, oh, I'm in government or I'm not in government or whatever. Yes, I am certain that Miss Pear is not in Telescope on foot because of this prior engagement. This happened, spontaneously. And if given the opportunity, she would have canceled her flight today. The way I know within that constituency, the way they embrace her within the Telescope area alone. And I guess this is the only reason I believe Miss Pear is not on the ground. And I'm certain that on her arrival, she is leaving the airport and she's going straight to Telescope. Or she might be in communications there already. But as the caller rightfully said, you're treating it as if, it's a hurricane. Yeah? You're treating it as if it's a hurricane. No, this is a constituency, and you see again politics. If you want to win the hearts of people, right? This is politics. This is the constituency you'd have lost. Yeah? And so if you want to make political gain, even if, show some form of empathy, go on the ground. Yeah? Grab the opportunity, but in your mind, your malice of the people that would have made a political opinion did not give to your side so they could die for your part one. That is how you're treating it. But as I said, empathy, sympathy, it comes automatic. That this happened immediately. One of the first things Ms. Pear did last night was make a post on Facebook. I saw all the comments below. I didn't want to get into that. Yeah? But it shows, ladies and gentlemen, that the mixture of politics, of being a politician, stores different on the NNP side as opposed to the NDC side. It's something that is natural to some people. Natural. You see Miss Pear, you see Dr. Modest, you see Dr. Kit, you see all the other brothers, Nimrod and others, and it is natural to them to get along with people. But when you see the other side, when you see them around, it's like they're forcing themselves. You're not seeing the embracing. And I tell people in my time I've been around politics. When Dr. and they be going, Deacon Mitchell is taking an impact on people and people are embracing him, you're mad? I've seen people, even while as in our position here. Seen a young lady in Guav. I don't know how many of you guys got to the meeting in Guav. A young lady would have braced Dr. Mitchell and she had literal tears in her eyes. Somebody who doesn't know him at all. Maybe I've heard of his political, performances or whatever. Because that is how deep the individual is and the impact he makes on others. But don't worry, we're going to get it done. Yeah? So ladies and gentlemen, just about 27 minutes. I know the Talking Point program will be aired. And I wasn't here yesterday. So I just incorporated yesterday's and today's. And I just said this, and I'm going to go as far as I can. All right? We continue right here, ladies and gentlemen, in sharing the conversations. And I want you to keep sharing the conversations. Keep motivating persons, young persons. We continue to ask that you get into the know. Yeah? Be a part of the conversation. We're not always going to be right. Yeah? But what we are going to do ever so often is ensure that we keep this present administration's business our business, because the state business is our business. Yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, again I want to reiterate, on Friday, the after work live, we want to have a nice one. Yeah, we want to have a really nice one heading into the second half of the year. Yeah. Constituency representation is up for grabs. St. Max, St. David's, I know this is two of the constituencies that have already showed up. Yeah, so constituency representation is up for grabs. Yeah, so come with your constituency, be the constituency that could say we had the biggest crew. Yeah, so see you on Friday. It definitely was a pleasure being with you guys. Maybe you could have enough time to maybe just go and put something on the fire very quick and turn up brother Sheldon, who should be up next. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, have yourself a wonderful one. My name is Royalty James. Thanks to all the persons who contributed today, and God's blessings. It is our last broadcast for this week. All the best in going to the weekend. I want to share a pleasant good evening to Katian and family over there in Victoria, the Joseph and the Bishop family. Again, my heart goes out to you guys. Katian, I love you a million, my friend. And you know, I'm going to be here for you as long as you need me. I'm going to always be the person whose shoulder you can lean on. You were there for me in the past, and I'm going to be here for you, my friend. God's blessings to you. And though you weep tonight, but joy cometh in the morning. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, do have yourself a wonderful weekend. God's blessings. I love each and every one of you genuinely. Yes, and I'm hoping that the persons that are coming out from the diaspora, your trip to Grenada, we get a chance to meet and greet and meet each other in person. I got a message yesterday from one friend who said, I'm in Grenada, and we're making accommodations to meet up. Just feel free to do that. Messenger or my WhatsApp. Just send a message over and say, hey, we want to meet up. I want to meet with the teacher. You get the opportunity. It's simple as that. All right. Again, have yourself a wonderful evening. God's blessings to you.
You asking me what is wrong with Trinidad? You can't understand why things go on so bad.